Brian Mudd Show is on News Radio 610 WIOD.
Juul has turned a generation of our young youth, our adolescents, into addicts. Juul marketed its product as a safe alternative to cigarette smoking.
And that is an attorney representing someone taking on Juul. And here to talk more about that, Austin Pennington, legal expert, attorney that's shared some good information with us of late. And Austin, about this Juul situation, no more had it been announced that California was opening a criminal investigation, then I started to see the ads on TV advertising for anybody who has a teen who feels they have been harmed by Juul in particular, that they should call them, reach out to them. Where are we in the overall legal process, especially as we're talking about potentially criminal implications here?
Well, Brian, those things typically follow one another. You know, it's kind of one of those cart before the horse kind of situations. Really, what we're looking at is we've got an investigation on the criminal side, and I'm not really sure how that's going to play out because there's some high burdens, as we all know, on your burdens of proof with the evidence on the criminal side. But I really do think that this criminal investigation is going to continue to fuel civil lawsuits.
So I ended up doing my own analysis on all this stuff to try to figure out what's what. And long story short on it, if you were to take in your typical cigarette and your typical e-cig or vape and use that the way that you would a typical cigarette, the delivery is so much more efficient on the nicotine that you're getting about 2.5 times more nicotine from the e-cig or vape than you do than a traditional cigarette. Is something like that in the hands of a company like Juul potentially something that should have been disclosed, as they were saying that it should be used as a device to help people quit smoking?
Well, it's definitely going to be used against them. I would, in my opinion, would be yes. That's something that should be disclosed because their entire message, especially when they first came on the scene, was that we are a safe alternative. We are something that can actually aid someone who's trying to quit smoking. And from what the information you're talking about, it sounds like that's not really the case at all.
Yeah, you'd actually be getting far more nicotine and, if anything, creating perhaps an even greater dependence on it through that method, which also gets back to kids and teens. So given that you have so much nicotine being delivered, theoretically, it's that much quicker and easier for addiction to ensue. Tell us a little bit about the difference between regulation on e-cigarettes relative to criminal investigations that are taking place. How are they different?
Well, regulations tend to deal with things like advertising and marketing and all those types of situations. The criminal allegations that are coming through right now have to do with specifically, as you mentioned, or as we heard the attorney comment on the beginning of this piece, about the marketing towards youths, towards minors under the age of 18. And the big concern, and the major concern that's coming out of California, is that the entire marketing campaign by Juul was geared towards making it look like it was really cool. It was, I hate to use this word, but it was hip. It was, something that young people should want to participate in, and that's really what the center of this criminal investigation is going to turn on. The problem is that you're going to have to prove that Juul actually intended. They have to get real evidence that Juul actually intended for its products to be used by minors under the age of 18. And I just really think that's going to be a hard thing for the prosecutors to prove.
Well, and Austin, the governor of Massachusetts just said, hey, we're not going to allow the sale of these products anymore until, we learn more about what's going on here. Is something like that going to stand if you see a challenge by these companies?
I think these companies right now have been brought to their knees a little bit, and so I think if you were looking at a different situation where they weren't in the crosshairs, so to speak, you might see a challenge that would keep that from happening. But right now, I think if the Massachusetts governor or any other governor were to say we're not going to sell these products, I don't think Juul or any of these other companies are equipped to fight that battle right now because they're taking on too many shells from other sources.
And to your point, the CEO of Juul just stepped down and was replaced. Appreciate it. Austin Pennington, thank you very much.
Thank you, Ryan.